E3 has wrapped up for another year, leaving in its wake a sea of gamers desperately putting together spreadsheets to see how many organs they're going to have to sell to afford all the incoming incredible games that were shown off at the LA Expo. To help make things a little easier, we've whittled E3 2018 down to what we consider to be the 10 standout titles. To be clear, we're only looking at games that showed off something substantial and have an actual chance of releasing before 2020. So please don't freak out because The Elder Scrolls 6 or Halo Infinite aren't on here. Devil May Cry 5. Capcom delivered some of the biggest and best surprises of E3 2018, and the news that we'd be getting a new entry in the excellent Devil May Cry series was definitely up there for us. Shown off during the Microsoft conference, we were treated to a stylish trailer that represented everything great about DMC, a smorgasbord of ridiculously huge monsters, over-the-top action set pieces, and a hearty portion of hack and slash goodness. There's no release date yet, but Capcom are apparently aiming to have us all kicking demon butt by March 2019. Spyro, Reignited Trilogy. After April's initial reveal, things were a little quiet on the Purple Dragon front. Fortunately, E3 provided a cornucopia of gameplay delights to pour over ahead of the remastered Trilogy's September release. We're happy to report that this is Spyro exactly as you remember it. The little dragon that could feels exactly the same to control now as he did back on the original PlayStation. The only major change is, obviously, in the visual department, along with some smart tweaks to the audio that make the whole package feel more polished, but still capable of punching us in the nostalgia whenever Spyro picks up a gem or breathes fire. And to be clear, it's one thing to watch the trailers for this game, but you won't believe how much better the Reignited Trilogy looks till you see it running properly for yourself. We can't wait to get back to this one. Pokemon, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee. No, it's not the core Pokemon RPG for Switch that everyone is waiting for, but Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee look like a fantastic little nostalgia trip to tide hardcore fans over, while simultaneously introducing a new generation to the joys of making colourful cartoon creatures beat each other unconscious. The Let's Go games can be best described as a remake of Pokemon Yellow with Pokemon Go integration. Catching monsters will be similar to how it's done in Go, but we still get the trainer and gym battles in the vein of classic Mon. It might well be Pokemon Light, but we'll be some of the first in line for this HD return trip to Kanto when it launches in November. Fallout 76. But after seeing the game in action, we're pretty excited to head out into the nuclear ravaged wastes and go on adventures. This time, with friends in tow. Sure, Fallout 76 might lose some of that sense of isolation and creeping dread the core series is so masterful at creating, but this is a spin-off, one that's daring to try something bold with an established franchise, and one where you can literally nuke other players to shit if they cross you. We're sold on that concept alone, to be honest. As long as Bethesda find a way to restrain griefers and still make the game work in a rewarding way for those who don't want to go it alone, Fallout 76 could be something special. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Leaving aside the fact we're annoyed they didn't call this one My Big Fat Greek Creed, Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks like it'll be continuing the excellent work started by last year's Origins, which itself was a breath of fresh air and a bold reinvention of one of gaming's most important franchises. Odyssey is keen to go even further towards transforming Assassin's Creed into a full-blown RPG, complete with a stunning huge world to explore, and choices that have real consequences on the characters and world. Throw in an even tighter and more dynamic combat system, Black Flag-style naval exploration, and intense ship-based battles, and you've got the most interesting Assassin's Creed since, well, since the last one. Keep this up, Ubisoft. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima looks absolutely gorgeous, but as the old saying goes, don't judge a book by its cover. Whatever a book is. Anyway, Sony showed off a tantalising slice of gameplay for their upcoming Samurai game, and it certainly seems to play as great as it looks, which is a very good thing indeed. We can't wait to explore the stunning open world and use a mixture of sneaky stealth and steady methodical combat to take back Tsushima from the Mongol invaders. Hopefully developer Sucker Punch can imbue the game's world with enough character and side missions to keep us invested for a good while. Marvel's Spider-Man. Easily one of the most anticipated releases of 2018, this year's E3 gave us our best look at the new Spidey game, and is everything fans of the webhead could possibly want. Hands-on demos saw us swinging through a gorgeous open-world New York, taking out bad guys and interacting with civilians in fun ways. It's incredible to see how much work has gone into making this feel like a real, living, breathing city. Insomniac has really put the friendly neighbourhood into Spider-Man this time, and we can't wait to see whatever surprises they have in store for us. Oh, and the web swinging feels insanely good. Yes. Better than Spider-Man 2 by some way. This is going to be a hard one to put down when it launches in September. The Last of Us Part 2. After 2 brief trailers and months of sleepless nights spent theorising about whether or not Joel is alive, Sony finally showed off some gameplay for The Last of Us Part 2, and it's every bit as brutal and tense as you might expect for the sequel to one of the bleakest games of all time. After a brief introduction which both implied that Joel is alive, and showed off the most technically impressive animated kiss we've ever seen, we were thrown into nearly 10 minutes of gameplay action in which it's clear that Joel taught Ellie how to really fight. It's not that she was ever useless in the last game, but this older Ellie is not someone you want to screw with, as she hacks, slashes and stabs her way through enemies in combat that feels so visceral, so real, that The Last of Us Part 2 definitely won't be for the faint of heart. We can't wait for this game. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Speaking of games that aren't for the faint of heart, the Resident Evil 2 Remake surprised us by A, actually finally showing up, and B, being the most outstandingly gory game we think we've ever seen. This is far more than a lick of HD paint for the survival horror epic. This is a complete reimagining with a Resi 4 style over-the-shoulder camera, gorgeous new graphics, and zombies that look like they shuffled straight out of your nightmares. These zombies aren't House of the Dead style cartoon monsters or over-the-top infected of latter-day Resident Evil. These are animated rotting corpses that slowly shamble towards you as you desperately fight them off with what few remaining bullets you have. In other words, this is proper survival horror. This is Resident Evil. Cyberpunk 2077. Could it ever have been anything else to take the #1 spot for E3 2018? CD Projekt Red finally peeled back a portion of the curtain, giving us our first real glimpse of Cyberpunk 2077, the ambitious sci-fi follow-up to the excellent Witcher 3. In short, it's looking astounding. A beautifully realised sci-fi dystopia full of colourful characters, strange new technologies, and oh, so many guns. A few people might be thrown by the idea of this being a first-person game after playing The Witcher 3, but I think we can trust CD Projekt to make all the right calls and deliver something truly special. Now we just need to try not to obsess over it too much while we wait for the next scrap of Cyberpunk news. Do you agree with our list? Have your say in the comments below. For more great gaming content and to keep up to date with all the latest gaming news, make sure to subscribe to Unilad Gaming and hit that bell for notifications when we upload.